see you, mate.
How you doing, Tim? You all right?
Yes, very well, thank you.
Good.
2008, what's it been like for Nissan?
Well, to use the football acronym, it's been a game of two halves, really. So the first part of 2008, and by the way, we work in financial years, so we're still in our 2008 year. The first half was remarkably good, and obviously that led up till around September time, when we started to get into the economic crisis. We saw that crisis running around, coming to hit us around about early September time, starting with Spain, and obviously through September, October, November, December, it's been a really tough time for us. Nevertheless, when I look at the total year, so the good part and the not so good part, I think we're going to grow our business for sure during this year. So FY07 over FY08, I think we're still going to see some growth.
Okay, good. What about what's ahead of us though in 09?
Indeed. Well, it doesn't look good, is the honest truth. I can say that across the world, almost all of our markets are struggling, some more than others. Clearly, for example, the UK has a tough time right now. But honestly speaking, even China, we're still seeing growth in China, but we're seeing less growth than we had anticipated in the past. So I don't think 2009 is going to be a great year from a volume perspective. In Nissan, of course, we have the double problem of any vehicles that we're exporting from Japan with a very strong yen. So obviously it promotes us to look at getting out of yen and exploiting the productions that we have outside of Japan. Fortunately, from an LCV perspective, we're in a reasonably good shape from that point of view. So I think 2009 is very much a year of concentrating on 09, consolidating our efforts, and making sure that we're not sacrificing our longer term objectives in 11, 12, 13.
But the good news for Nissan at the moment, 2009 and certainly up to 12, is you've got a good range, or you've got a plan for quite a lot of new vans coming along, so it should be good times for you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we don't disclose what our product plan is, but you've seen enough in terms of the intentions that we've talked about publicly, that you know that there are vans coming. For example, NV200 concept that we showed in Hanover, we've already declared our intention to bring that to market. Also in the US, you've seen the NV2500, which we also intend to bring to market. And whilst I would say that in the current climate there is obviously a lot of pressure on our capital expenses, we still have intention to bring what we plan to bring, which is 13 new models over the period. But obviously the time scale in which we do that will be a little bit slowed down.
Right, okay, that's it, fine. One other thing you mentioned there, also we looked at alternative fuels is really going to be, you know, US traditionally has always been electric, even in the 1900s.
Yeah.
So do you see that changing, or when do you see a gradual change around the world, or do you see it happening in certain areas?
Well, there's obviously always two sides. There's the demand for greener fuel, and there's the push, the technology push. And we need to balance what is the right solutions. I mean, we think, for example, in the heavier side of the light commercial business, the bigger vans, the light-duty trucks, the technology that we're working on is obviously the hybrid technology, working closely with our partner there of ZF. We still think that's the right solution, particularly when we couple it to the smaller side, where we think perhaps EV, electric vehicles, are more the right type of solution, and we can start to see that now. For example, you know, Tesco's running around in EVs, so we believe that we have an advantage in EV from a technology push side, because for years and years and years the technology of batteries have been a key part of Nissan's portfolio, and we think that can become an advantage for us, and it's certainly something that we're studying right now. So EV, the company's declared intention is to be a leader in EV. Hybrid on the upper side, clean diesel, which is you know, almost a no-brainer for us in Europe, but around the rest of the world is not so obvious. But we're obviously promoting clean diesel, and that's somewhere where we can obviously pull the technology benefits that we have with Renault. And obviously then the alternatives. I mean, biofuel, yes, we can do biofuel for sure. CNG, of course, we have that technology. LPG, we have that technology. So we're not trying to impose any particular type of technology, in other words, pure technology push on our customer. Our view has always been to see what the customer is pulling, but on the other hand, we do have a particular advantage with EV, and that's perhaps where we will start to push a little bit.
Tell us, global alliances, do you think now with the market being as it is, it might bring partners together? We've seen recently Fiat looking at taking a 30-35% in Chrysler.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to be now maybe forcing the arm a little bit?
Well, you know, I've been working in Nissan on the LCV business since 2002. And from the very beginning, we've always had part of our strategy has been OEM partnerships. And the point is a very simple one. Everybody in this business needs economies of scale. So we're prepared to work with anybody that doesn't create, you know, a cannibalization, which is mutually efficient with the brand. I mean, obviously we've been working with Renault from the greater alliance point of view. But obviously we're working with companies like Mitsubishi, Mazda, Renault Trucks, Volvos, and I think we're just going to see in the crisis more people recognizing that economy of scale is important and more people working together. So I think it's inevitable in this kind of circumstances, with or without share equity. I mean, you don't need to go down the route of share equity. You don't need to go down the route of merger. On the other hand, you know, we've proven that with Renault, even though we have share equity in each other, we don't have a merger, we have an alliance. So, and it works extremely well. So it can be an alliance, it can be an OEM deal, it can be a merger. But I think, yes, it's inevitable that the industry will see a greater degree of collaboration.
And here we are in Cranfield. It's an important part for Nissan Technical Centre here.
Yes.
How do they, I mean, we're going to talk to Ian later on in terms of what they're doing, but is it strategically, globally, it's an important point for vans,
well,
particularly?
Strategically it's important for us because it's important that we have people in Europe understanding what the customer needs. So having people on the ground is always going to give you an advantage over sitting in Tokyo trying to design vans for a customer in Newcastle, for example. So clearly that's one of the reasons that we put the vans here. The current crisis brings NTCE another advantage, which is strong yen, weak sterling. So actually, you know, doing work in here in Cranfield actually just got cheaper without any decrement to the quality, because the quality of the people here are simply fantastic. And I've been working with them now for 17 years. So of course we get the best of both worlds as it stands right now. So I think it's inevitable that we'll try to push more work here. It's inevitable that you know that as the LCV business grows, Cranfield is going to be a part of that. And yes, it's an extremely important and advantage for us.
Brilliant. Great. Thanks very much.